I have 2 kits to put in the interceptor today. Install. First one comes for Hitchcock motorcycles. I'll give you the links for the parts at the end. It's an AIS delete, air injection delete kit. It does away with these reed valves up front and the hose that goes up, through, down into a solenoid, which is attached to your airbox. And that system is to allow air coming from the airbox all the way into the exhaust to burn off any unused fuel. Not real necessary. It's a emissions thing, and it's not on the Euro 5s. Euro 5s, it's off. And not much in here. You got 2 blank plates to take place of those. 4 screws. A plug to put in the airbox when you take the solenoid out. And a couple gaskets. You will have to take the seat off and the gas tank off. And the horns, make it easier on yourself to take the horns out of the way. I have loosened these bolts. They weren't very tight, but one's a little fiddly. The inner ones are a little fiddly to get at. It's still tight. Maybe easier to get it from the other side. I'll take this one off first. And the other one. Yeah. I'll move to the other side just to get that one off. Yeah. It's easier from this side to get the inboard one. I'll be glad to get rid of this tube in there. Always got in the way when you do your valves. Always got in the way. Okay, that's it. Solenoid is just held in with 2 5mm Allens. Actually, they're 4mm Allens. Yeah. The other kit is the Evap removal. They're a little more of that than this one, as opposed as the means of getting that stuff out. Hardest thing is to get that air purge valve down here. It's held underneath the battery tray, which is not easy to get your hand in. There's a clip on the electrical connection. Get that off. This is a very large hose. when I did my valves, I would pull this hose out up the top just to get it out of the way, because it gets in the way. These are the revalves and the hose. Okay. There goes the valve. In that kit there was a resistor plug right here. You put that in the connection that was attached to that solenoid. It only goes one way. Now you won't get a code in the ECU. Take that black plug. There's a rubber gasket in there. O-ring, whatever. You have to take that out. Like that. You take your plug and just plug the hole. Now these are ones that come with from Hitchcock. They're just plain aluminum plates. Not very fancy, but like I said, Euro 5s don't have it. They have a nicer one, cut-off plate. I mean, yeah, cover plate. What did I do with my knife? Oh, yeah. It matches the engine, actually. It's got little fake cooling fins on it, which is much nicer. It looks like it's part of it. You can get these from Hitchcock's too. See? Doesn't that look nicer? I think so. I gotta put the gasket on the stainless steel screws. And put one in. This is my ignition. I moved my ignition from up there to the side. I don't know why they painted it that color. Should have just left it there. Another one. Just on Hitchcock's, it's on the last page. When you look up accessories, the very last page, number 10, I believe. 10 is very at the bottom, past the touch-up paint. But the other part of the kit, main part of the kit, is on page 1, about halfway down. I don't know why they didn't put them together, but that's what they have. I'll go around and put up the other ones. 5 mil, by the way. That looks much better, don't it? Well, you can't see it, but I'll show it to you. Like I said, the inboard ones are easier from the opposite side you're working on. You just have to line up the gasket. Come on. There it goes. You might notice I took a lot of other stuff off. That's because the Evap is a little bit harder. That that purge valve on the bottom seems to be the one that's the hardest thing to get out of there. All right. It doesn't have to be torqued a lot. It wasn't tight to begin with, really tight. It was snug, but not really tight. Like that. This isn't going to make it any faster or anything like that. What it really does is clean everything up. Get that big hose out of the way. You might get less popping. If you have an aftermarket exhaust, if you had popping, you might get a little less than that. But that's not a big deal. Tighten this one up. And that's basically it for that. I'll show you what it looks like. As your revalves are gone, the plates with the slots in them, much nicer than these blank piece of metal that Hitchcock puts in the kit. As your solenoid was plugged into that is the airbox. This is the connection that was connected to it, and that's where we put the resistor plug, so we don't get any codes thrown in the ECU. And that's pretty much it. Looks good. That's part one. Now we part two. Okay, it's part two. Evap removal kit. I'll give you a link for this place too. Not that that's the only place you can get it. You can get it other places. This came from Greece. A place called Smart Moto Electronics. There's even less in this kit. What do we get? There we go. We have another resistor plug, so you don't get any codes for the Evap. And we have a card where you can go online, you can read the instructions. And we have two little rubber nubs They go on the throttle bodies, on one on each side, for one. Because we got a hose coming from the Evap up to here. It hits a T connection and then drops down to each one of the throttle bodies. You'd pull that hose off and put one of these nubs on each side. Now I'll show you what I took off, which is a lot. Not just only the seat. Took the sprocket cover because you can see where it is. It's right under here. And according to the manual, if you want to take something, you want to get at that Evap purge valve, is to take the inside of your fender out. So I did that. There's 5 10mm bolts and a couple other things that hold it. The ABS for the rear is clipped to it, and another connection is clipped to it. But it does make it easier. I talked to people that trying to get it out without taking this out, and it's just more hassle. And I don't think you want to hear me cursing, because it would be a lot of it. And also that inside of that fender, which is there right there, ECU is connected to it. You have to take out 4 Torx 20 screws to release that from it, and then work it out of the hole there. But that's what I took off. Now, good information here. Your charcoal canister is right here. And in the front of that is a little tiny bracket with a 10mm bolt. Take that out. Then you'll be able to slide it. And this little bolt just holds it in. And what I found is that canister is held in like a clip or something. If you're on the right side of the bike, you pull to the right, and then that comes off. Oh, one thing. Don't do this with your engine being hot, your exhaust, because these are gas fumes. Could be in here. The manual actually says that also. Don't do it when my engine's hot. I'm just trying to get my hoses off. Make it easier to get out of that hole. If you're wondering, these are hose long nose pliers. I didn't buy them, I had them. There we go. There's 3 hoses connected to that. Little fiddly to get out. And there it is. This is what was holding it in also. You just slid it to you. It's just like a clip, it slides. Slide it to you if you're on this side of the bike. Now we can start taking out hoses too. This hole's right here, little bend in it. That's just a breather for the canister. 1. There's little retaining things that hold these hoses in. I might take this 10mm out here. the bottom of the battery thing. Let's see. What do I got? The hoses are clipped in here, like a little spring. Bent wire like this, a loop that holds it in. That's one. Now I got that one free. The smaller of the hose is that. Ow! It's in there. Let me look for the other side. Oh. It's the purge valve it's attached to. Now, I found if I'm on this side, I can pull the purge valve out of what it's connected to. And I can pull the hose off from this side. This does make it a lot easier though. The electrical connection is on the purge valve too. That's what you have to get off and plug that resistor plug back in there. Yeah, that hose is attached to the valve. That's why I couldn't get it off on that side. It's going better than I thought. Probably because I took that fender well out. Because I wouldn't be getting my hand in it right now if I didn't. Okay. I'm just trying to get that hose that goes up top off the valve. And there it goes. Okay, this is the one that goes to a T, I guess. One on each side, the throttle bodies. Now, let me get that off. I think I need a small screwdriver for this. There's one of the hoses from this side. There you go. Let me go on the other side and pop the other one off. That's it. And I just gotta work it out of that hole. There you go. See, it was just teed off to split the air to go one side and the other side. Now we put on those little nubs, the little rubber caps. Looks like it's made out of the same material the hoses. Like that. Easy, real easy. And that's that part. Get the valve out of there. First you gotta unplug it though. Easier to push it through the other side, and it's right in front of you. Alright. These clips are always tough. And if I push it out by the chain, I can get it. Tough because you really need two hands. I can just position it so we can get it out of there. It's coming. Where's that screwdriver? I wasn't looking forward to this part before I knew to take all that stuff out because I couldn't get my head in here at all. There it goes. That's the purge valve. You see, that's where it was held on. So you push it from this side, you push it off the clip. All right. Now, that electrical connection. Yeah. Wow. There's a resistor plug that goes in this place of the valve. It only goes on one way. And it's a waterproof one, so you gotta really push it in. There it goes. You hear it click. And this one has, looks like it has, yeah, on the side of the clip, it has the same connection that the valve have. So you can reattach it. I gotta look at it from on the ground. All right, there was nothing to clip it on, but I pulled it over to the side and up, and it's next to the airbox. I zip tied it to something else that's next to it, just to keep it out of the way from the bottom there. But the kit is in. Now I get to put back the whole bike, and there's some rain. I might have to pull this back into the garage. That figures. But when I put it back together, I'll come back and start her up. There it is right there. The original wiring plug and the new resistor for the Evap. Now I get to put the inner fender back, put the ECU back onto that, put this up, put my sprocket cover back on, but might as well clean it right now because you know what they look like. And yeah, not too bad. It really helps to get this part out, that fender. The book was right. Because otherwise you wouldn't get your hand like this. You wouldn't be able to see what's going on. What's a little taking apart, put it back together. I don't mind that. But I'll see you when I fix it back together. Alright, we got a quick recap of yesterday's install. Everything is in the bike. I just want to give you tips on what to do, what to take off, and what's the easiest way to do it. First, we got the AIS system with the reed valves in the front. It went through a hole in here in the plastic. It came down, it went into the solenoid right here, which is plugged right into the airbox. And there's a rubber piece that if you pull the solenoid off and the rubber piece is still there, you won't get that plug in the hole. And I found that easiest way to take these bolts out, because we have to take the horns off. You have to take your seat off. And I was just thinking, maybe I didn't actually have to take the tank off altogether. I just had to prop it up so I can get my hand in there. I think you can do that. Now I'm looking at it. You take the horns off. I had to take my ignition off because my ignition is over here instead of up there. But the easiest way to take these bolts off, because it is a tight spot, even with the horns missing, is to loosen this one and then loosen this one. Because if you try to get this one right here, maybe you can do it, but it's tight. It's easier to see how easy my hand goes in there and that one. Then you go on the other side and do the exact same thing. You take the outer one first, and then you can get this one inner one first from that side. It's a little easier. I couldn't do, my hands cramped up. They're trying to get it in there. Just look. And then, yeah, you just take the solenoid. There's 2 bolts in here, small ones. You take that out. Yep, pull it out. There's some tension in there because it's a rubber piece. And make sure you take that rubber piece out. And you find a blue plug attached to this. Unplug that. Take your booster plug that was in the kit, that came with the kit. You plug that in. Push that plug in that hole. And that's pretty it for that. Oh, well, putting it back in. The other part, the other Hitchcock, well, actually not made by Hitchcock, but the other covers, the blanks, these are finned, and they match the engine instead of just a blank, flat piece of aluminum. They look much better, I think. And your solenoid. Was right here. There's 2 bolts. I put the bolts back in the holes just so I know where they already know what they were. They're right there where I left them. There's your booster plug. And you can just sit in there. Well, you want to zip tie it to something. It isn't going to go anywhere. Now, the Evap system. What you had to take off for that is the seat. Again, you don't have to take this off. You can just prop it up like I did. But I did originally take it off, but now I'm looking and I didn't have to do that. You won't have to take this off. The inner fender, I've heard people do it without it, but let me tell you, you have direct access to it if you took that out. This is held in by 5 10mm bolts, 3 on that side, 1 down here, and 1 up here. I had to take my license plate bolts off that held it to the bracket. Otherwise, this isn't going to be able to move, and you need to move around a little bit. I took these. Start your Torx 20 out, then the fender drops, and this part is separate from the fender. There's your ECU. ECU is connected to this plastic piece, so I took that out as well, just so I can, because you have to take this out of the bike. There's also Torx 20, 4 of them, 1, 2, 3, 4. Don't take these end ones off. That's not mounted to the plastic. And there's a sensor here. Unbolt that. On the back of the plastic piece, you got your ABS wire, just clipped. It's just clipped to it, and another sensor. Pull that out, and it's a little fiddly because this inner wall is on top of the fender here, under here. You have to push the fender back, and to get it out, I got it out. It was a little tricky, but I got it out. But you'll be glad you did, because you have easy access to the back. Your purge valve is right where you can't see it with this plastic piece is in the way. But when you take that out, you can get your hand in there and feel it. And hold on, let me fix this. Your V-valve, your canister sat in this tray. And you see these little raised piece of metal. And you'll find the bottom of the canister has them. They go and they slide into it. That locks it from rattling around. And there's a little bracket that holds it from coming out. See, it's a 10mm bolt. take the bracket off. You can get your hand behind it and just pull it out of these little things. And then it's easier because it's a maze of hoses. To pull the hoses out while it's here, then you can slide it out of the bike. And then we can go to the other side. Take the sprocket cover off. Because you can't pull the purge valve out this way. The wires aren't long enough. But you can push them up so they come up to about here, and then it allows you to take the hoses off and unclip the electrical connection, and then you can put in your resistor plug, which is this is the connection on the purge valve, and I connected the resistor plug there. I pulled it out of the tray, out of it underneath there because it gets all gunky. I put it up here just to keep it clean. I zip tied it. And part of the eval system was a small hose right here. Came off the purge valve, went up, over, and it was teed off. See, these went to the both sides of the throttle body. And in the kit, they give you rubber plugs. See, there's one plugged over there, and the same thing on the other side. So when you took that off, you just replace them with these plugs. Now a gas tank, the left side is still your overflow. If you happen to overflow your tank, there's a little drain right inside. If you ever saw a little tiny hole, that's where this comes out. I have it going out, and I clipped it to that tray the canister was in, so it drains out there. The right side plug that went to the evap unit went to right here. Same hose I used, put it through here. I went up and I just have it out here. This is a vent now. It's a vent for the gas tank. Before it went into the evap, now it's a vent for the gas tank. Just like before, the canister has a vent also. It had one. If you ever saw it, it was right like this. That was the vent for the canister. That's pretty much for the putting it in. You just have to go through the trouble of putting this plastic piece back. I had a bit of trouble trying to figure it, but just remember that this part, the inside part, sits on top of the fender. So when you put it back, make sure it's on top of the fender. Otherwise, these bolt lines, they're not going to line up. Either is your ECU. So you do have to take off that sprocket cover, both side panels. The tank, like I said, you can get away with not doing it, taking it all the way out. Just you need access to pull this big hose. So if you use two hands, push one on one side, push it on one side and pull on the other, you'll get it. There's a tiny little hole, actually not that tiny, right there. That's just feed it through there, and then you can pull it out of the bike. And that's about it as far as taking things off. Then you can put everything back in, put your horns back on. These aren't super tight, these bolts. Just snug them. Not torqued or anything like that. They weren't, the original ones weren't either. And that's about it. If you have any questions, you can send me a question. I'll answer it for you. So now let me just put it back together right now and start her up. Alright, just about it. Everything else is back on. Just put my side panel back on this side. And take it for a ride, which I will do. It's supposed to be 75 today. It works. It works and no error codes. So those resistor plugs are working just fine. Not throwing any codes. I hope this makes it easier for people, because I don't really see too many. I remember seeing one on Interceptor doing the Evap removal, and actually I never seen somebody do that one on YouTube anyway. So yeah, it wasn't too bad, but it's a whole lot easier if you take this fender part off. Because if you want to try to get your hand through that, between the chain, and no, you'll kill yourself, or somebody you like is next to you. But that's it. Till next time. Bye for now.